Welcome to the Golden Feather. Grab a pint, a plate, and pick your seats. Your hosts, Virtek and Chibi Bree, are back from their latest adventures.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode with the Golden Feather. Today is all about articulation. There's a dash because we're going to cover some art and kind of talk about the discussion this week for the dev discussion. So this will be a short and quick and sweet little episode. Also, Friday the 13th, and the full moon. Is the sound on? I'm guessing the sound was on, because I know my mic is on. Can you go ahead and talk, Damien? Oh, that's bad. Okay. Okay, can you hear us now? Are we back, aside from our wonky background?
Hey, that sounds better to me.
Okay, so I think it was an issue with the stream because I wasn't choppy to Virtek through the audio part, but apparently I was choppy to you guys. Wonderful technology.
Yeah, I think you could probably turn me down just a tiny bit. Because I'm a bit louder than you, or turn you up, one or the other.
I am up actually fairly high, so... Well, Audio, or Elf, I can't really fix much of that for you, sorry. This is what we have to work with, and I've not really changed any audio levels since we first started, so... Yeah, sorry. There's not much I can do. Like, we're pretty much maxed out. But anyway, as Virtek was saying.
Yeah, so, there's nothing really out there, which kind of stinks. But we did bump into, there was a couple things for art, so that's what we're kind of basing this off of. Oh, let me actually turn this stream audio back off now that we're done testing that. It's throwing me under the bus. Throw myself under the bus because I heard me talk and it confused me. But yeah, so there was some. I mean, well, first off, we were gone last week, so sorry we missed you all.
Yep.
We did actually miss you. We were talking about the stream and stuff as we were on vacation. Believe it or not.
Yes, we were. While we were on the East Coast.
Yep, floating around. Well, not really floating. We were kind
driving.
of driving. We were driving, but it was like a mobile house.
Oh yeah, we got an interesting upgrade. We had a great time. When we got there, we were offered a free upgrade to a larger size vehicle because I guess they ran out of the standards and ended up in an Escalade.
Yeah, we totally paid for what we thought was going to be like a $20,000 maybe SUV, like standard to small size, whatever. And they're like, "Hey, you want a free upgrade to large? Yeah, sure, we'll take it." I figured they were going to be like, I don't know, here's the Tahoe, here's a Suburban, something like that, right? Nope. The only thing around was an Escalade. So we got an $80,000 car for a week, and it was pretty nice in the lap of luxury and all. But
yeah.
I wouldn't pay $80,000 for that. I'd rather buy two $40,000 cars, to be honest.
Yeah, to be fair, I'm in the similar boat. And then we were actually out there during quote unquote Hurricane Dorian. And I say that because the part that we were in, which is the part that was supposed to be hit by Hurricane Dorian, ended up just being a lot of rain. And that was it.
Yeah, we were out in Eastern Virginia, like Virginia Beach area, Newport Beach and all that.
Yeah.
Wasn't really anything crazy. I think we had some rain. I don't even think we had thunder or lightning, really.
No, I kept thinking we were seeing lightning, but I think it was just because I was looking at your daughter in the back seat, so it was like the reflection of the other vehicle's headlights. So I was like, was that lightning? No? Okay, we're good.
No, we good. But yeah, but while we were gone, there There was a fan art Friday last week.
Yes.
It was a cute little almost watercolor looking one,
Let me
right?
put that one up real quick.
As two souls start their new life or their life anew in Vera, which I know at least Theater Elf and Z, you two, I'm sure probably already caught this tweet and checked that out. I know you guys are kind of on top of the artsy stuff that's going on.
Yeah, but it's still really pretty. I like the light colors and
Yeah, I thought
the
it was
detail.
cute. I'm curious if is she knighting him? Is he like swearing fealty or his sword to, the service of a lady? Yeah, is he about to propose? Is he like
It looks like
what's there trying to pull out a ring? What's going on there?
it looks like he's like bowing to her and she's just like patting him on the head.
What are you doing? I'm tying my laces. Oh, aren't you cute?
But I like the detail work in that. It's very pretty.
Yeah, I always like the watercolor stuff. Big skill to take stuff that's gonna like flop out a little bit. Well, I guess it's technically not really watercolor. It's close. It's close. But then there was another piece of like 3D art done by David Hewling, which by the way, that last one was Nayu Art on Twitter. And this one, I think they maybe got off the forums. It was by David Hewling, The Sword and Shield.
Yeah, this one's a little large. Let me shrink it down a little because it was just like a giant portion of the shield right in my face.
Giant shield.
This is very pretty.
Yeah, some good work. I mean, see, every time I look at some of this stuff, I try to figure out where they would even begin with something like that.
Yeah.
Like where would they even begin starting to write that? Like, okay, let's start with the base sword. Okay, well, I guess I got to make that first. How do I make a sword?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, this person looks like somebody who could be picked up for like working with ashes, given the type of artwork.
Yeah, me, I don't know. I think I'm one of the worst artists out there. Like, I try and draw a stick figure, and if he's running, he'd look like a ninja star, and that's what I would try to claim I was trying to draw the whole time. It was a ninja star.
It's a ninja star, I promises.
Yeah, and then there's this guy Roy Eltham. He got retweeted by Ashes. Looks like on our first day of vacation. He actually made something with what's called a glow forward. Oh, hey,
I hear her through the microphone. Sorry, that's our cat. So if you think you have a cat in your room, it's our cat, probably.
Yes, the Glowforge is a little bit of a 3D printer type of thing as well. Yeah, apparently it took what kind of wood was that? Was that oak?
Bacon made the sword originally. Nice.
Okay. But yeah, walnut. That's what it was. Took walnut and engraved the logo in there, and then had some acrylic laid into that. It was actually pretty cool.
Really, really cool. I could see that up on like the new studio that they're having somewhere.
Yeah. See, I want to start playing around and doing some weird stuff with acrylic. Like I saw some of the niftiest little trinkets I've seen at like conventions and such. Was this person would take just random containers that she would find around and about, like Altoids containers and things like that. Just random little knick-knacky sized containers, and she would fill them with aquatic life. Like she made like a clear and then kind of like an off bluish color acrylic, but then she would create,
I think that was resin.
Turtles, and yeah, she would do resin and acrylic stuff. Yeah.
With a little bit of mold work too. I saw one girl did like a little koi fish she molded. It was super adorable, and I'm like, how do you do that? It's so tiny. But when she put the whole thing together, like, yeah, I think I'm seeing the same stuff that you were talking about.
Yeah, like that was some of the niftiest little knicky-knack stuff that, I mean, I got some from my friend. Actually, one of the friends we saw on vacation, Sarah. I actually got her one of the little Altoids containers.
Aww.
I don't know if you noticed all the random decorations. Her and her husband just collect the most interesting stuff, and it's so random.
Yeah.
But she has like, I don't know if anybody else has the same issue. I have an issue with like the medicine cabinet in my bathroom, where I'm always trying to put things into it, and suddenly I have too many things to fit in the medicine cabinet because I'm like, well, I need this, I need that, I need that.
To be fair, our medicine cabinets, like...
Well, they usually are. They usually are. But...
Right, but that's like also the only mirror cabinet we have, so...
Yeah, I never have any space left over in a medicine cabinet, and they actually have a medicine cabinet devoted to nothing but random things that they've collected, like old school medications from like the 18 somethings with like hand printed labels and such.
Yeah. So, those are the art pieces for this time, and they look really nice in my opinion. Damien's, or Virtek, sorry. We all know your name now. Virtek put out the links for those, so if you guys are watching us on Twitter, or Twitch, not Twitter, just kidding.
You gotta dox me.
If you're watching us on Twitch, you can see the links for that. Otherwise, it's on Ashes of Creation's Twitter.
See.
Dox alert. No.
Dox alert. Somebody quick mute that.
That's okay, you get to edit it later. You could just be like, silence while I mouth things.
Right, I'll put in some random name. But yeah, the only other real thing that we could find that was of worthy note, to be honest, was the dev discussion series.
Yeah.
Which, in case you guys haven't bumped into it, is about group composition. And do you prefer having the Holy Trinity type, or something more freeform, like, as they put it, a full group of bards? The Bard Party.
Did you see the pics for the new office? No, I did not. Where were those?
Yeah, I saw a few things.
Ooh.
Just didn't get them gathered up for this.
Steven Lakes on Discord. Okay, I'll peek through Discord while Damien gets this one started, because he saw this before I did.
Yeah, the Discord thing for me, unfortunately, with like general discussion and such, is, I don't know, I get lost in it so easily that I jump in for a bit and I never really dig through very much, because I bump into pretty much nothing.
Yeah.
Did it again. Did who again? Did what? What broke? What died?
Oh, I called you Damien again.
Ah.
2 strikes, 3 strikes, I'm out.
But yeah, I get lost on the Discord, and I tend to avoid the general discussion for the most part. Like, I'll dive in for like an hour and I'll do a quick dig through, but if it requires much actual research, I get lost in it so easily. It's insane. But I know I saw a few little things there. Sunfrog did a video. Awesome. I'll have to check that out for sure.
Yes.
Sunfrog's got one of those voices you just you can zone out to.
In a good way.
Yeah. But yeah, in the group composition thing, I thought that was one of those things that for most people is going to end up being a really complex answer to a really simple question. Like, do you prefer standard group comp, or do you prefer just bring all the bards? And for me, it's definitely intricate, because I think that every game is going to be better as far as a game goes if they focus on a trinity, or as Damocles said, because one of my favorite quotes was from Damocles specifically, as he had said,
oh, sorry.
No, don't worry, I'll pull it back up at least so
nope,
I can
it's up.
But
hint, yeah, nudge.
Yeah, the very last line on that, even though I believe it should be called a quartet because the support role, it's something that should be added in and should be considered, because I don't know, I think that watering everything down to DPS that also provides support, well, then why can't you get more creative and make a support class that pulls that away, and then you can add more dynamic damage type events and requirements to the damage class. You can make their stuff much more interesting, because you don't have to leave it open to potentially doing support stuff. Yeah, quartet. But the thing that I ended up putting through in my my little response is that with Ashes, with the primary and secondary classes, it's almost more like a cube, because they're adding a whole separate layer or a whole separate dimension to it. with the fact that your primary classes should be divided up into like a quarter or a quartet. Like you get your tank, you get your healer, and then you have all the different DPS and support classes providing different types of DPS and support. But then you add depth to each of those to create an actual like cube of different class structures and party structures that you can choose from. Because you can kind of hit everything in between, especially if you're going to end up being, say, like a bard tank. You're going to be a hybrid between those two roles to a degree, but it's going to be different than like a mage tank as far as what it can actually do. So, I mean, it's still going to be an off-tankish role that's a damage hybrid, but there'll be interesting ways that each one could use different skills. And I kind of like that. It keeps it so that you could do a solid quartet, and you could do a tank with a cleric and, you know, a mage and a bard. Like primary, secondary classes listed right out there, and it'd be these 4 classes would end up making like the corners of, you know, quartet there. But then you get into the larger group of 8, and you can start to really spread stuff out a little bit more. Get yourself a DPS that can also do a little bit of off healing or off tanking, and be a whole lot more interesting, I think.
I think I really like the ability to kind of freestyle it, if you know what I mean. Being able to shift between the traditional one of each type, as in tank, healer, DPS, support, and being able to also go in with like multiples of the same type. I don't know. I'm still trying to look for the photos for the room or the house.
Yeah, I can try and dig some up too here while you're talking.
Thank you. But I really think that, honestly, they're kind of leaving it as like a hint for us, saying that if you get 10 of one or multiples of one of the classes or archetypes, you can be able to summon something bigger. You can put up a bigger wall. So I could see the ability and the freedom of flexing back and forth and the advantages that they would have. Oh, it was last Wednesday. I had to go back very far.
Yeah, actually I just found them.
If you want to just throw them in the video thing.
Yeah, I'm gonna get it right now here.
Yeah, that's what I was referring to, the group summoners, a group of summoners being able to summon a golem. Like, I could see instances in which that would be very useful. For example, castle siege or horde mode. In order to properly fend off the monsters coming towards you, you would need a group of mages or a group of tanks and able to do one larger thing that might be beneficial. For example, summoning a golem to attack the horde of monsters. And I think that that would be really, really cool. Now, who's controlling that golem? That is a very good question. That is something that I would like to see how they set up, as well as if maybe it's kind of like the World of Warcraft situation, where you have a bunch of people that contribute to a building or something, and then be able to take advantage of the uses of that building once it's built or completed. So maybe in a similar idea, for example, would be contributing a bunch of ice attacks to do one large ice attack, or contributing a bunch of smaller fire attacks, etc. That sounds like something that would be kind of interesting. And I'm purely going off of just theorycraft at the moment, but just interesting seeing what the opportunities are there and how that changes the entire dynamic of the fight, or fights. That being said, perhaps you have a small group, and I have no clue how Ashes is going to do these smaller dungeon type things, but I think, was the smallest group 8?
You see, that's the thing. I think they said something about like 4 and 8.
So basically TBA.
20 from there. It was crazy.
Yeah. So still being decided, still being worked upon. But yeah, going off of what Democles said, learn from other games' mistakes. The Trinity has its place, and it would be foolish to throw it away because it's kind of a foundation. When you play D&D, when you play Pathfinder, you try to create a whole group that is structurally sound, and it's structured this way for a reason. Now, have I ran a group where there's literally one tank and nobody is a healer because nobody chose healer and somebody is an alchemist, and we're praying and hoping that the alchemist can save the tank? Yes, I have. It's also introduced a very interesting version of chaos and fun to the game as well.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, going on like the group thing, I have 4 images I just put in there, by the way.
Perfect.
3 were from the new office, and 1 was, looks like new armor previews.
Ooh, I will throw those up real quick. And you put those where exactly? Under
the screenshots.
Okay, perfect.
But yeah, so I definitely like sticking to the Trinity as far as how the majority of the game goes, because I feel that when they start to balance the game around so many different classes that can all do the same stuff, like they can all be a healer, they can all be a tank, they can all be a damage, they can all be a support, they can all do everything because they're awesome.
This photo is very large.
Yeah, they're all going to be pretty large, but they're all going to end up spending all of their time balancing the classes instead of making more game. Like, if you think of how long it takes regular MMOs to balance classes that are normally balanced around a trinity, so all you're doing is you're balancing one tank against the other tanks, and then you're balancing one healer against the other healers, and then you're balancing one DPS against the other DPS, etc., then that becomes an easier balancing act rather than, okay, this class needs to be balanced against the other 12 classes. They all need to be equally-ish, within a margin of error, tanky, healy, damagey, supporty.
Right.
Because if not, the meta group is going to end up being 12 of this one guy, because that one guy is going to be doing everything.
Yeah, I agree about balancing groups. Also, while we're chatting, there's the lovely cafeteria, it looks like, with a vending machine. But yeah, I think that balancing groups overall is an important thing. I'm going to look at what Final Fantasy is dealing with right now with the healing, different healing types that you can choose from. A lot of people are saying this is no longer viable, this is more so viable, this is only viable in this situation. And I think while it's important to have the diverse reasons as to why you would choose one class over another, I think it's also important, again, to make sure they're balanced equally. Will certain things be more OP in certain situations? Yes. But that's because they're more so geared towards that. For example, White Mage is great at overall raid healing, whereas other classes are better at individual healing or swapping back and forth between individual and AoE healing. So each thing provides, each class provides its own particular perk with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then at least if you're sticking to a Trinity or Quartet type system, you're only balancing against their own type of class, their own category.
Right.
You're not spending all your time balancing everything else. And there's also somebody else that put up a post that I thought was really interesting with how they did a pro and con comparison between Freeform or Trinity. And this is I'm going to mispronounce the bejeebus out of this because I keep wanting to say Echi, and it's not that. It's Ekuisa, Echoisa. I don't even know. Here, I'm going to type it in here, and somebody tell me how that's supposed to be pronounced, because I couldn't tell you. But either way, so they had a few lines specifically in this portion of the response that I really liked. For one, the con of Freeform, and this is one that not many people would think of right off the bat. They just want to think of how fun it would be to pick any class and go do whatever you want. But there's encounters tend to be less inventive and less demanding strategy-wise, so that any group combination can successfully complete it. So this watered down battle and this watered down situation, so that any of the classes, including the weakest one, if there's a bunch of them, or the least flexible one or what have you, is able to complete it, then suddenly it just becomes like a really simple, easy, like face roll type of situation. And the tighter and tighter and tighter you want the error margin to be, like how much can you mess up before you're done and you wipe and that's it, it becomes, the smaller and smaller you make that, the more you need to isolate people down to doing a specific job.
Right.
But if they can't excel at one specific job, then they can't do really well with it, which means they can't really fit in that niche. They need two people to do it, to fill that one niche role. It means that just ends up being not as intense for like the more hardcore people. It's more for like fun times, go out and have a ball and do things and prance around through the fields and slap whatever creature happens to be there, because it's not going to fight back very hard anyway. But to balance that, the con of the Trinity system is that tanks and healers will get fast groups and DPS will be stuck waiting for a long time, assuming the breakdown becomes nearly all MMOs with what feels like 95% of people refusing to do anything but DPS, which is really confusing wording with basically what they say. What I think they're saying is that it seems like 95% of people just want a DPS and they refuse to do anything else in most MMOs.
Which is what we're seeing as an issue in Final Fantasy before the newest expansion with the new things, but still a little bit even after, is considered, I guess, sometimes the easiest job, but it's all in who you ask and how they play. If you're super casual, sure, that's the easiest job. All you gotta do is sit there and hit things and have a minimum score of eye level and be like, okay, I hit the thing, woo. But if you're hardcore and like, if not like edge rating or progressive rating for yourself, maybe not cutting edge progression rating, but then it becomes, okay, here is a DPS check. Hit it as hard as you possibly can, as fast as you can, and oh, you didn't make it? Okay, look for your next piece of gear that you need to upgrade to try to get a little closer to hitting that.
Yeah. Now, the good thing about this con is Steven's response and how he said he really wanted to have the game balanced around 8-person parties as the default. Because then you have one tank, one healer, and the rest of the party is filled up with DPS and support. So as long as there's one tank and one healer queuing, they're going to be able to take 6 other people.
So that would exponentially speed up the process.
That would speed it up so much. Like twice as many people are being taken through as DPS and support, but they also need to have a little bit more varied skill set in order to complete the dungeons to the best possible goal.
Right. I like what Theater Elf just said. Tanks are expected to be expert with encounters, and healers are blamed a lot for deaths, even when it's not their fault. So people refuse to play them unless familiar with groups. So everyone defaults to DPS. And I kind of agree. I think if you have a group of people that you're playing with, you're gonna see a lot less of like, oh, it's your fault. Oh, it's your fault. It's just, you get the people that are all high and mighty, like, oh, I could do no wrong, and it must be the other person's fault. But generally when Virtek and I run, like, if we die, like, nobody really says anything because he's usually the tank and I'm usually the healer, and we're already communicating either via Discord or in person, saying, hey, I think I could handle that, go ahead and try, or something like that. And generally, like, say, oh, I'm sorry, that was my fault, I pulled too much, or oh, I'm sorry, that's my fault, I didn't have exactly what I needed up to be able to heal that amount of pull, etc.
Going back to add on to that, though, to be honest, with all of the rating and all the playing that I've done, tank is really the easiest job known to man. Really is. It's high pressure because you need to know the fights and you need to know what's coming up, and if you don't, then you really have to be able to play it by ear and really wing it.
Yeah,
it's really good to wing it and do well. But once you go through an encounter once or twice and you know generally what to expect, tank is the easiest job out there. And it just gets easier the more the rest of your party knows what's going on. Like, especially your healers. If your healers are good, tank's job is the easiest thing you could ever possibly do.
And if the DPS know their roles really well, then they're able to help with any mitigation, like stunning or getting out of the way when they're supposed to be getting out of the way and not standing in the red.
Yeah. And I mean, also with some games, and I say some games because some make it completely trivial, like Final Fantasy just did. They made threat completely trivial. If you're a tank and you're in tank stance and you occasionally kick dirt in the enemy's face, you have all of the threat you could ever want for the rest of your life.
Yeah, pretty much.
Just you could auto attack your way to the top of the threat list and just not even care.
They've really dumbed it down, but I still don't want to play it.
Yeah, I've quite literally like gone into a fight with like an AoE group of enemies, and I threw down a couple attacks and I started typing to the group. And I just occasionally went and I clicked. I didn't even hit hotkeys. I clicked on some defensive cooldowns and just rotated every like 20 seconds. I would click on one, but I would just have a conversation with the group and auto attack for the win. But yeah, like as a tank, you go over here, you face the dragon that way. Make sure the tail isn't facing anybody either because of the tail swipe thing. Know the fact that the ground's going to erupt in lava, so you don't stand right there, and you win. Like that's winning as a tank. You stand there and you just press your buttons and you do as much damage as you can so the DPS can relax a little tiny bit. Like the minuscule amount that you give out is going to help.
But yeah, like somebody said, facial.
yeah I mean, it gets, as I said, it gets easier if the healer knows what they're doing. Healer's job is incredibly easy if DPS and tank are really good at their jobs and avoiding stuff. Then the healer's job is stupid easy as well. You just for low things and you heal them, and you have to know fight coming up. Do you need to put a shield on somebody or whatever? DPS job is the only one that gets repeatedly stressed out as far as like meeting DPS checks and whatnot.
Yeah, I think the worst. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say, like, just to cap that out, like it's repeatedly stressed out or tested, I should say, as far as DPS checks, but the stress is really low because if you die, it's whatever. You wait for a res. If a tank dies, whew, wipe. The healer dies,
definitely wipe.
But like DPS, like it's prance around, jump around the screen, just do your attacky stuff, and you get tested. As long as you can do your DPS, you're fine.
Yeah.
But it's high test, low stress. Everyone else is low test, high stress, because if you fuck up, then everybody is fucked up.
Yeah. I was gonna say, like, for me, kind of like with the tank situation, being a healer, I'm just like, I have moments where I'm like, oh my gosh, don't die. And then I'm like, okay, we're good. We got this. And then like, it'll just go back to like, oh my gosh. But like, that usually ends up being more so like when I'm a little bit like, as I say, doggy paddling in the water, trying to flail around a little bit when I'm like lower eye level and I'm trying to get my eye level up there a little bit. I don't know. Aside from that, there's really not a whole lot to talk about for this week.
Yeah, which is kind of a shame because, I mean...
We were excited.
Maybe it's due to the fact that it's Friday the 13th with a full moon.
Okay.
Just saying.
I had my friend Fred here.
Nothing going on this week.
Say hi, Fred. Hello.
Hi, Fred. I was totally gonna do the entire stream with a skeleton in place here, headphones on and everything, talking in the mic, and I just decided not to because it's toasty right now.
Oh, it's very toasty. We one of the issues we had right before going live was again the lovely server, or I call it the server.
The circuit breaker.
Circuit breaker popping.
Apparently, this house is old enough that they didn't run like a serious line to this area, or honestly, the electrician just fucked up because they have like all of the outlets in this room, plus the refrigerator and another wall in the other room, plus some outlets for the bedroom upstairs, all running on like a 20 amp fuse.
Yeah.
Which is just stupid because all of that together, and it's like, well, I guess we could just turn the AC off which is basically what we have to default to.
We're a little roasted right now. Also, we're in a heat advisory. There's a heat advisory in effect. We're going over 100 degrees. Yay!
Fantastic.
But in other news, we're headed off to an awesome event called MagWest. And it's a gaming and music thing. Originated at MagFest in the East Coast, which we will also be going to, but that's in January. So if you guys ever want to meet us at a convention or something and just come hang out with us, we love meeting people. Thank you. We love meeting up with you guys. We love being able to see you guys in person. I was trying to get a hold of one of the people in our guild while we were out on the East Coast, and I just didn't hear back in time, and it just, but we were like right there. Yeah, too far. I know. One of these days, Virtek and I plan to have world domination where we transfer, world vacation, not domination, where we're just gonna go from one place to another and kind of vacation. So never know, we might come see you, Z.
Yeah. Plan on it. But yeah, if anybody's out near the Bay Area, MagWest is going on this weekend. It's all about music and gaming. So they get some bands in, and they get a bunch of video games. They actually get. So here's the thing. This is the first time I've been to MagWest. Originally, they started out as MagFest, which is now known as Super MagFest because they've started so many other side projects and side shows and things that go on throughout the year. I think they have like 12 different events throughout the year now.
It's crazy. This year, MagWest is like teamed up with Animal Crossing, so it's like super adorable.
Yeah. But they have like at MagFest, they'll bring in bands that did like soundtracks to Japanese games, and they'll bring in bands that did soundtracks for things like Pump It Up and DDR and such like that. Mm-hmm. And it's a really, really insane show that will probably have, a room at a hotel, like a normal convention center, where the big like dance halls, they'll have it completely jam-packed with people, like 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 people in this one room for a band, just going bananas with a great sound system and everything.
That's kind of why I'm gothed out, that and like some low-key worshipping of the full moon on a Freaky Friday.
But they also get, at least with MagFest, they will do like 300 arcade games in one giant dealer hall, all open free play 24 hours a day for the entire convention. They get probably 200 or so systems, game systems, ranging from Ataris all the way up through like the PlayStation 4s and Xbox S1s and such like that. Mm-hmm. And you basically go up to a counter and you say, hey, I want to play this game on that system. And they loan you that game for that system. You go sit down at the system and just start playing. Free play, 24 hours a day.
I'm so excited.
Play, but yeah, you have to buy the ticket to go in. But you'll literally walk into an impromptu tournament on the most random game you've never heard of in your life from like 1983. And people will be, it's basically a party con. People will have a couple sips of beer in them, and they'll pull up to an arcade machine and just start having a random tournament for no apparent reason, but people will line up and start playing.
Right. Also, I'm kind of excited to try some DDR. I'm really bad at it, but I'm excited.
Ooh, better bring them dancing shoes.
Good thing I got flats on.
Yeah, this will be my first year at MagWest. I've gone to MagFest probably 5 times or so, but MagWest, first time here. Hopefully it holds up to the same hype level.
Also, while we're still live, I just want to say welcome, Judd. I already said it in the Discord, but thank you for joining our Discord server. We'll do our best to update you guys when we're going to go live again. And Bree has been really bad at uploading the videos, so...
All right, we'll get them up here soon.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll tell you guys all about it next time we're on. I think that's about 2 weeks from now, as long as nothing interesting pops up. Again, join our Discord. We'll let you know if something pops up, and we'll be going next week. But as of the moment, while information is still streaming rather slowly, so will our podcast. Can't wait to get back to the every week thing, but I mean, if after we've been gone for a week and another week has passed. We are only at this much information. I don't see a reason to waste your guys' time with just idle chat, basically. But thank you guys so much for joining us, and
keep an eye out on the Twitter and on the Discord, because we'll probably be posting up some of our antics over this weekend at MagWest. I mean, I'm gonna be smuggling in some 99 bananas, maybe. We'll see. I might be getting a little tipsy.
Like gas.
Never know what you may see.
I think they have alcohol there. Oh yeah, you don't want to pay for alcohol there. It's too expensive. Anyway. Au revoir. And thank you guys for joining us. Till next time.
Adios.
Bye.